Everyone talks about motivation. You hear it in gyms, in podcasts, on posters. Get motivated. Stay motivated. Find your why. But deep down, we all know something more honest. Motivation is fleeting. It shows up when it wants, leaves when it wants, and doesn't care if you're tired, broke, or trying your best. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't ask for permission. It shows up regardless. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca lived by. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. Discipline doesn't wait for the weather to be perfect. It doesn't need the stars to align or your mood to be right. It doesn't require an inspiring quote or a loud song. Discipline is that quiet step you take when no one is watching. It's that moment when you choose to do the hard thing not because you feel like it, but because it's right. And that's what Stoicism is all about, doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. In today's world, we're bombarded with emotional hype. Instagram posts shouting about hustle. YouTube videos screaming about success. And yet, we're more distracted, more tired, and more inconsistent than ever. Why? Because we're chasing bursts of energy instead of building a foundation. We're hooked on adrenaline instead of cultivating endurance. The Stoics would shake their heads. Not in anger, but in understanding. Because they knew the same temptations in their time. Rome had distractions too: glory, wealth, praise. But the Stoics turned inward. They trained their minds to remain steady whether they were praised or punished. Epictetus was born a slave. He had nothing. No freedom, no wealth, no status. But he had discipline. He understood that the only real freedom was self-control. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's not a motivational quote, it's a survival strategy. When everything is chaotic around you, the only thing you can truly govern is your own response. Discipline is that governance. It's choosing principle over pleasure. It's choosing action over excuse. Motivation is like a spark. It lights the fire, but it doesn't keep it burning. Discipline is the wood you stack, the fire you tend, the ashes you clean. It's work. It's boring sometimes. It's repetitive. But that's the price of progress. Seneca warned us, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult. The obstacle is rarely outside us. The real obstacle is within, our laziness, our comfort, our addiction to the easy way. Discipline destroys those obstacles not by fighting them, but by ignoring their pleas. Every morning you wake up, there's a war between the part of you that wants to stay comfortable and the part that wants to grow. Motivation picks sides based on how you feel that day. Discipline doesn't. Discipline just gets up. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait to feel inspired before writing his meditations. He didn't wait for perfect peace before ruling an empire. He wrote his thoughts in the middle of war, in the middle of sickness, in the middle of grief. He reminded himself, and us, that the true test of a man is not what he says when life is easy, but how he acts when it's hard. The Stoics believed that every day is training. You don't train once and become strong. You train again and again, especially when you don't want to. You show up even when you're tired. Especially when you're tired. That's what builds resilience. That's what sharpens the will. Motivation might carry you to the door, but discipline kicks it open and walks through. Look around. We live in an age that sells shortcuts. Six-pack abs in 6 weeks. Success in 30 days. Confidence with one simple trick. But life doesn't care about shortcuts. Life respects consistency. That's what Stoicism teaches. Don't rely on bursts of energy. Rely on routine. Build habits so strong that they work even when you don't feel like it. Because feelings are clouds, they pass. But character? Character is the sky that stays. When you say no to distraction, you say yes to growth. When you say no to laziness, you say yes to becoming who you were meant to be. And the Stoics knew this. They weren't born tough. They trained themselves to be. They practiced discomfort. They embraced challenge. Not because they were emotionless machines, but because they understood something deeper. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. The moment you stop challenging yourself is the moment you stop evolving. Discipline also means facing your flaws. The Stoics were brutally honest with themselves. They didn't pretend. They didn't lie to feel better. They wrote their weaknesses down, reflected on them, and committed to improve. That's real strength. In a world where everyone wants to be seen as perfect, discipline asks you to be real. Not flashy. Not flawless. Just real. And in that realness, you grow. You don't need to feel fired up every day. You need to get up every day. Discipline is the quiet hero of transformation. It's not sexy. It's not loud. It's often ignored. But it's always there, in the early mornings, the late nights, the moments no one claps for. It's the decision to show up when your mind is whispering, skip it. It's the courage to choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Stoicism doesn't promise comfort. It promises clarity. It says, look at life without illusions. Accept what you can't control. Master what you can. And what you can always control is your effort. Your attitude. Your actions. That's the foundation of discipline. You may not control outcomes, but you control inputs. And that's enough. That's more than enough. Think of the greatest achievements in history. The artists, the writers, the inventors, the warriors, they weren't motivated every day. But they were disciplined. They had rituals. They kept promises to themselves. They did the work even when no one cared. Even when they didn't care. Because they understood that results are built on repetition. In your own life, you don't need more hype. You need more habits. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Create structure. Build systems. Wake up and act even when you don't feel like it. Especially then. Because that's when it counts. Anyone can act when it's easy. Discipline acts when it's hard. That's when transformation begins. When Epictetus was freed from slavery, he didn't celebrate with excess. He didn't get lazy. He doubled down on virtue. On self-control. On reason. He taught that freedom is not doing whatever you want, it's doing what's right, regardless of what you want. That's discipline. That's what Stoicism teaches, freedom through control. Peace through principle. So what's stopping you? Tiredness? Doubt? Fear? Those are temporary. Discipline makes them irrelevant. You feel fear, and you act anyway. You feel doubt, and you move forward anyway. That's courage. That's virtue. That's power. You don't need to wait for a perfect plan. You don't need another podcast episode or another motivational video. You need to start. Take one disciplined action today. Wake up earlier. Say no to distraction. Read a page. Take a walk. Speak truth. Do the thing you've been avoiding. That's the spark. And if you keep doing it, day after day, motivation won't matter anymore. Because your life won't be driven by feeling, it'll be driven by purpose. Discipline gives you that purpose. It gives your days a rhythm. It gives your mind peace. You no longer chase excitement. You create meaning. You no longer beg for energy. You build momentum. The Stoics weren't chasing dreams, they were building lives. Stone by stone. Step by step. You can do the same. So remember this, when motivation fails you, and it will, discipline will carry you. When the world distracts you, and it will, discipline will center you. When fear tries to stop you, and it will, discipline will push you through. Because discipline isn't cold. It's freedom. It's focus. It's the fire that never goes out, even when the wind is strong and the night is long. You don't need motivation. You need to show up. You need to choose your values over your feelings, your principles over your impulses, your purpose over your comfort. That's the Stoic way. That's the path to peace. And it's available to you right now. All it takes is one disciplined decision at a time.